10 a.m. and 11 a.m. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7.
Always. This is 93.7. Citizen FM, Abuja.
Time is 6 o'clock. Welcome to Citizen FM News. I am Didi Eno. The headlines: Federal government and World Bank partner to boost access to education for girls in Nigeria. United Nations to focus on human rights abuses in Sudan. And in sports, Nigeria Golden Eaglets to take on Burkina Faso in Under-17 African Cup of Nations. The federal government has explained why the Federal Executive Council has approved multi-billion naira contracts barely 18 days to the end of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, and his water resources counterpart, Suleiman Adamu, explained this after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja on Wednesday. Sambo, while responding to a question on the reason for the award of contracts, which the outgoing ministers would not execute due to the expiration of their tenure, on May 29, said the administration would continue to perform its duties up to May 28, and our fingers be crossed.
These things, we do not control the process, but when it's completed and we're still in office, we're duty bound to bring these memos to council for council to approve. Government is a continuum. There are still a lot of memos, I can assure you, a lot of contract that will not see the light of day in the next 1 week. We have continued since 2015 to implement projects, and we are confident that the incoming administration will do the same.
This is
President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Nigerian journalist and leader of Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization, Afenifere, Chief Reuben Fasoranti, on his 97th birthday for his commitment to the ideals of good governance in Nigeria and unwavering dedication to progressive politics. Asiwaju Tinubu, in a statement from his office signed by Tunde Rahman, praised Pa Fasoranti, who turned 97 on Thursday, May 11, for his exemplary life of courage and public service as a teacher, a school principal, local government chairman, an administrator, commissioner for finance, and astute politician. The president-elect recalled the various roles Pa Fasoranti played in progressive politics in Nigeria and the Southwest in particular, from his student days at the University College Ibadan, where he was an active member of Action Group and one of the trusted allies of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who was a premier of the Western region, and Chief Adekunle Ajasin, first civilian governor of Old Ondo State. The controversy rocking the All Progressives Congress has taken another dimension as aggrieved Senate presidential aspirants have openly informed the All Progressives National Working Committee that they will disobey the directive to have Senator Godswill Akpabio as the next Senate president. The senators who made the declaration while meeting with APC leaders at the National Secretariat in Abuja include former Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari, former Governor of Abia State Oji Uzo Kalu, Senator Sani Musa, among others. They submitted a letter jointly signed and asked the party to correct its mistakes or face the consequences.
Vote does not count on what you get most times. A Enmity does not count on what you are given. So the President Obasanjo became president without other Nigerians, with other Nigerians voting, except his constituency. I was with him the day that vote was voted. So vote is not a measurement. What you do not do today, you can do it tomorrow. We had a hurricane in our zone. Nobody could have stopped. President Buhari had 29.9% in Abia in 2019.
Further consultation and enshrined in the letter issued, I think, 4 or 5 days ago, a better consultation. We came for a better consultation, and the chairman and his team promised that they are going to look into the matter. And what is important and should be very clear to all of us, that is this decision of the party or the president-elect or any other leader.
A point very clear that if the president, in his wisdom, decides to support the balancing of the secularity of this country, we in the North Central, we agree to it. And what next? We should be giving our own dues. That's all we're asking. And also canvassing that North Central should be able to have one of the leadership positions in the Senate.
That's the Deputy Senate President.
That's our position.
The APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, while responding to the request of the aggrieved senators, urged them to hold their fire, assuring them that the party leadership would address all their grievances in order to ensure a smooth takeoff of the 10th Assembly.
To receive you, to come and express your displeasure for what the world was giving, take us what we have done. As chairman of the APC and member of the National Working Committee, we take responsibility. As chair, I take responsibility for what has gone on air. I don't have to share with you how what you heard got to be heard. I take absolute responsibility for it. And in that spirit, I welcome you to this office on behalf of my colleagues. Yesterday, we received members of the lower chamber who have been those contesting for the speakership for the lower chamber.
Government has enrolled over 3 million girls in secondary schools under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Project. The Agile, that's a project tagged, is an initiative of the Ministry of Education and World Bank and is aimed at increasing access to secondary education among marginalized adolescent girls in Nigeria. The project, an initiative of the Ministry of Education and World Bank, hopes to see marginalized girls have a better voice in the country. Agile National Project Coordinator Amina Abuba Haruna, who spoke at the media briefing for the launch of a national campaign for Project Madubi, said the focus was to improve secondary education among girls in the targeted areas in participating states. Over 5,000 classrooms have been renovated under the project so far. The participating states are Borno, Ekiti, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Plateau, and Katsina states.
Now, we have a lot of policy in the Federal Ministry of Education that look at the enrollment of learners, look at the enrollment of out-of-school children to school. But particularly, this interest went to the adolescent girls. Now, what is the aim and objective of this project? Is to improve secondary education opportunity among our girls in the targeted area in the participating state. This is our objective.
Khadijat Bello, who spoke on behalf of Madubi, said the project was needed to influence the girls' and women's potential in the society. She added that the project was an intervention tackling multi-sectoral issues.
It affects issues of improves maternal and child mortality, because she's learning how to take care of her health as well as the health of her family. So she's able to, implement practices that make it easier for both her and her children to survive. Gender-based violence, she becomes more educated about her rights, about the ills that she has to face from society.
11 other states will be joining the 7 participating states in June to further give more girls access to education and to help more marginalized to find their voices. The National Senior Secondary Education Commission has commenced the review of the Zero Draft Minimum Standard, earlier produced in 2022, to enable it to carry out its mandate of prescribing and enforcing minimum standards in all the public and private secondary schools in Nigeria. The chairman, governing board of NSSEC, Ambassador Nimota Akombi, made this known at a stakeholders meeting in collaboration with the Adolescent Girls Initiative Learning Empowerment in Kefi, Nasarawa State. The commissioner stated that the challenges was quite glaring during the needs assessment exercise recently conducted by some public and private sector senior secondary schools across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. The Universal Basic Education Commission says over 46.2 billion naira matching grants for public, primary and junior secondary school development have not been accessed by some state governments. The acting executive secretary of UBEC, Professor Bala Zakari, disclosed this during an oversight visit to the commission by the Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education in Abuja. The acting secretary or executive secretary, while presenting the 2022 capital budget implementation report to members of the committee, revealed that a total sum of 162 billion naira was allocated to the states as UBE grants between 2019 and 2022, noting that just a fraction of the money was accessed by the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory.
You said that, as you are aware, we received the last part of this disbursement in March 2023. So, since it is an agency that waits for the revenue, consolidated revenue that is normally given to it, therefore, in executing the project, it is to be noted that while we get the last tranche in March, all the other projects that we are supposed to give out for implementation have been given out. Hence, we have 100% release from the federal government, and we also awarded a total of 905 consulting projects.
Speaking earlier, the chairman, Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education, Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, said that it had become necessary to ensure that money released by the federal government is issued for the purpose that it was meant for. Represented by the vice chairman of the committee, Senator Akon Eyokin, the chairman stated that the visit was also to confirm the implementation of the 2022 budget of the commission and also see the proposal of another budget for 2023.
Why this is important is to ensure that for each appropriation done, money released by the government of Nigeria, that it is used for the purpose it was meant for and properly done. The infrastructure that UBEC is concerned with, and then that's the primary sector, and then the junior secondary sector, is like the foundation. What you put in there, if it is positive, what to grow into the larger society, into the university, and further as those to be employed to work in any sector.
You are listening to Citizen FM News at 6. And now to stories on the foreign scene. The United Nations Human Rights Council has voted to increase monitoring of human rights abuses in Sudan. A total of 18 countries voted in favor of the Western-led initiative as a special session in Geneva, while 15 voted against and 14 abstained. Sudan itself had vigorously opposed the motion, arguing that the conflict was an internal affair. The U.S. envoy to South Africa has accused the country of supplying weapons to Russia despite its professed neutrality in the war in Ukraine. Ambassador Ruben Brigitte told local media that he was confident that a Russian ship was loaded with ammunition and weapons in Cape Town last December. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said his government was looking into the claims. And now to sports. The Golden Eaglets will take on Burkina Faso in a quarter-final game at the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations on Thursday, with an eye for a ticket to the World Cup. Coach Nduka Ugbabe, his side face their fellow West Africans in a repeat on the WAFU B Championship final, which Nigerians lost 2-1 last year. Nigeria earned their place in the quarter-final tie after finishing second in Group B of the Under-17 AFCON, while their foes were second-placed in Group C. While the Golden Eaglets are favourites to win the tie and seal a semi-final spot, Coach Ubades admits that the game will not be an easy one. And that's about the size of the highlights. Federal government and World Bank have partnered to boost access to education for girls in Nigeria. United Nations is focusing on human rights abuses in Sudan. And from the world of sports, we told you that Nigerian Golden Eaglets are to take on Burkina Faso in Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. And that's the news as edited.